All right, Shalom. The point I want to get into in this video is that you either choose the side of strife, envying, and debate, or you choose to make peace. Okay, you either bless people or you curse them. All right, you can't be on both sides. According to the scripture, you're supposed to make your mind up and choose a side. You have to choose whether you want to make peace or if you want to cause strife. All right. And all of that is in the power of your tongue. All right. And that's what the scriptures say. All right. And an example of, uh, you know, basically, actually, let me just get it in the scriptures. All right. All right. The scripture says, out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be. All right. So cursing somebody is wishing evil upon them, and blessing somebody is wishing good for them. Okay? And these are polar opposites to one another. So James is saying if you're blessing people and you're cursing certain people, he says these things ought not so to be. He says, doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Okay? So this scripture is basically telling you to pick a side, whether you're going to have sweet water or bitter water. Okay? Are you going to have blessing or are you going to have cursing? The scripture tells you to pick one and not to have both. All right? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine figs? So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. All right? So the scripture again is telling you that you either choose blessings or cursings, that you can't have both. All right. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. So meekness, another word for meekness is humble, gentle. Okay. And these things are opposite to cursing. Okay, so when you're in a spirit of meekness and gentleness, you're in the opposite of the spirit of strife, okay, and cursing, because cursing also it causes strife. It's one of the fruits of strife. All right. It says, if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. All right. So if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, how do you know if you have it? It's if you like these debates, okay? If you like to start debates, if you like to get on the comment board and cause all kinds of controversy, if you look forward to drama, all right? Because in the definition of the word strife, it says angry or bitter disagreement over fundamental issues, conflict. And bitter, okay, is one of those is one of the words in the definition of strife. Angry or bitter disagreement. And the scripture says, doth a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? So and strife is, and that's talking about strife. The bitter water is strife. All right. And the sweet water is when you're trying to sow peace, okay? And you're trying to make peace, all right? And then there's that bitter water, which is you trying to cause strife and you're trying to cause arguments and controversy and debate. And what you have to understand about these things, controversy, debate, arguments, all such things like that, those are actually things of the flesh, okay? And the scripture is actually going to prove that. Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries, either a vine figs, so can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh. So, who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him shew out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not, and lie not against the truth. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. All right? Because debate and strife, okay, it's sensual, okay? Because when you debate somebody, you feel passions, all right? You feel if you feel like you're right, okay, and you feel like you're winning the battle, okay? That's sensual, all right? These things are of your flesh. When you can't wait for the controversy, when you can't wait to so-called cut somebody, that could get sensual and devilish, and it's earthly. But the scripture says, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. So the scripture is basically telling you, you have to pick one side or the other. You're either going to pick peace, all right, or you're going to pick strife, okay? And when you look forward to strife and you have strife in your hearts, you have something that is earthly, sensual, and devilish, and it causes confusion in every evil work. So it doesn't matter how right you think you are with the scriptures. It doesn't matter how much you think you're cutting somebody. If you're coming in that spirit of strife, debate, and all that, all those things are of the flesh. But the wisdom that is from above, that is actually from Yahawahshi, Yahawahshi, is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace of them that make peace. All right. So basically, you're either going to come in the spirit of being a peacemaker to want to make peace, or you're going to come in the spirit of wanting to argue, start strife, controversy. Okay. It's like in the world when you have people who like to gossip, right? They like to gossip all the time, right? And then you have that one person who's like, I don't want to hear this, man. That's the person who has who's looking for peace. All right. You know how people you know how people in the world, they gossip and they argue with one another and they're always debating one another or whatever. Then the person who's looking for peace is trying to solve the situation, right? They'll come up and they'll try to give advice for both of the people arguing. The person who's peaceable, they'll try to tell them, hey, drop it. All right. So, that's the for example, I can use an example from my personal life, okay? And this happened in my family, okay? My whole like a good amount of my family, they were beefing with one another at one point, right? And I wasn't the type to beef with people in the family. I didn't get pleasure out of beefing with my own family. I didn't get pleasure out of drama, okay? Because there's people who can't wait for drama to stir up. All right. But I wasn't one of those people that took pleasure in that drama. All right. And because I wasn't arguing with everybody, I was pretty much neutral. So since I wasn't arguing with anybody, everybody was coming to me with their own story, right? And that's how I feel in the nation of Israel, because I'm looking at all different types of people and I see where things are where things went wrong in certain areas, right? I see, like, for example, the elders kind of spoke against Alazar Sakari, and then Sakari responded back, calling them pieces of shit. All right, because you're not supposed to really do that. All right, you're not supposed to be calling the elders pieces of shit, because what you do, even if you feel like they are the ones who cause who even if you feel like they're the ones who are in the wrong and they're the ones who treated you wrongly, you're not supposed to come back at them and call them pieces of shit, because then you're stirring up even more confusion. All right, because if y'all came in the spirit of trying to make peace, right? If Tahar came in that spirit of trying to make peace with you in the first place, that's what he should have done as an elder. But because he didn't do that, you, as being younger, you went back at him, and you called all basically most of the elders pieces of shit. All right, and then it causes confusion, because now you got people who are following you and they see the Lord is deal, because uh Alazar, he gave me one of the best breakdowns on the Mamzer, the whole Mamzer doctrine. You know what I'm saying? So I clearly saw the Lord was dealing with him on certain occasions. But then I would look at the elders and I would see that the Lord was dealing with them. You see? And then I would look at the Good Samaritans, the brothers, Tahar. Tahar basically, kicked out one of the, I don't know if it was Tahar, but somebody kicked out the main brother at Detroit. And, I saw the Lord was dealing with them, and, they weren't trying to come to a conclusion. They didn't come in that spirit. I'm not saying the Detroit brother didn't come in that spirit, because more recently I saw the Detroit brother and the Chicago brothers that came together and with Element, and they made a video against GMS, but they were basically rebuking some of the strongholds. All right, and they didn't curse anybody, but you still got people in GMS who are actually cursing people. And when you curse somebody, what you're doing is eventually you're stirring up strife, and the scriptures are telling you not to do that. So, basically, if you come in the spirit of trying to make peace, okay, then what's gonna happen is you're gonna open your eyes, you're gonna wake up, and you're gonna see that one of the main problems in Israel is just strife. And it's not even only in this truth. It's not only in this truth. I'm talking about our people in general. Our biggest problem is strife, because like gossiping and all that, gossiping and drama, Jake loves that, man. In the world, Jake loves that. So it's no different in this truth, because Jacob is still Jacob, you know? So the scriptures are telling you, you either choose to make peace, or to sow strife, all right? And you got to pick which one you want to do, cuz and it's in the power of your tongue. And whichever one you pick, all right, it's going to affect, okay, Israel. All right? So with that said, um you know the word shalom means peace, all right? And you have people saying it all the time, right? But the question is, do you really seek peace in your nation? So with that said, shalom.